In today's video, we're going to go over where we've been, where we are, and where we plan on going.
And if you want to see our pros and cons of Arizona, I'll put a link in the description to our last video because we did a little chit chat on our experiences here.
But long story short, we were both born and raised in North Dakota. We moved down here in 2021 and been in Arizona City now for almost 2 years.
Yep.
When we moved down here in 2021, we stayed at an apartment in Apache Junction. Rent was $14.75. We were there for 3 to 6 months before we started getting cockroaches in our apartment.
Yeah, it was like we moved in November and we got our first one in January.
And then it was really bad within the first probably 3 months. Started getting pest control and they just kept baiting and baiting and baiting and baiting and baiting. So all of the cockroaches were just coming up from the people living underneath us and just coming up into our apartment.
And behind us.
We kept complaining. And finally, after month 9, when she had one crawl across her in the middle of the night, that's when we contacted a lawyer and got them involved, and we were able to legally terminate our lease due to a health hazard. They
had 10 days to respond to our notice, and they didn't respond. And then when our 10 days is up and we told them that the keys were in the apartment, they tried saying that they never received our response, but she replied to the email that had my notice in there, and it said that it was read.
And she tried to say that there's only 90 more days left, or 120 more days left of our lease. Couldn't we just stick it out? So we don't plan on putting the company's name or anything like that. It's not just a blast. It's just something that you got to look out for when you're doing apartment shopping, is not only look at the actual apartment that you're at, but I hate to say it, but you kind of have to judge your neighbors on how clean they're going to be. Cockroaches was something that we've never really dealt with in North Dakota.
Ever.
It was mice.
Yeah.
So here is, we didn't even think about that. Same with termites. We don't have termites back home.
Yeah, we do. I've never seen them or heard of them.
Nobody that I've known has ever had termite problems until we moved down here.
And trust the Google reviews when you're looking for a place to live.
Yep. At that time, one of her friends at the apartment said that their rent was getting raised. They lived in a similar layout of ours. Theirs was getting raised to $1,800 a month. So that's a very significant jump for these apartments. Like, they had pools, but they were never working.
They were cold, and
it was one of those apartments that has the things, but the things were terrible. So, like, on paper in North Dakota, when we're looking at this, yes, this is fine. We can stay here for a year, 2 years till we figure it out. That was not the case. And we found that out within the first month when the cockroaches started.
It was really nice. So we had a view of the superstitions. So at first it was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. This is so pretty. But then eventually it's just a rock.
And maybe we'll try to insert some pictures and stuff here. I know I have 10 billion pictures of sunsets and everything. So maybe we can just pop them up in the screen for a couple of seconds. But after the cockroaches, the homeless drug addicts were coming in very bad.
And they would just sit down by the tree and just like stare at you. And then one was like pretending to water the tree. I don't know what he was doing.
Well, he filled his water bottle up, poked a hole in the cap, and then was just squeezing it at the tree like he was peeing on it while staring at Brooke for like 45 minutes. It was extremely uncomfortable.
We would get made fun of a lot when we told people we lived in Apache Junction.
Yeah. We thought Apache Junction was not connected to anywhere else. We moved out here on a whim. We've never been here. Never. We did our research for, I would say, close to a year. But obviously, if you've never drove around the area, you don't like we did the Google Maps and all of that, and it just looked like there were just separate hotspots of different locations where more people would live. Well, that's not the case. It's basically from Apache Junction all the way to the end of Phoenix is full of people the whole way.
Yeah.
Baseline will go from Apache Junction all the way over to Phoenix. You can pretty much take it the whole way.
That is one nice thing, though. Everything is a grid, and
Yeah.
it would take you a while, but if you're scared of the freeways.
It's not like Minnesota where if you get off on one exit and expect to get back onto that same road, when you leave that exit, you're not. Well, here you are. It's just, if you miss a turn, just take the next exit, hop over, turn around, come back. It's super simple.
Man, what's kind of Apache Junction had a lot of. We'd get coyotes running through the complex a lot. I ran into, was it a mountain lion or mountain lion? Early one morning, I went to take the dogs for a walk.
Bobcat.
Or Bob. What is the one that has like the
Bobcat.
and it was small.
Yep.
Bobcat. And then after it would rain, the desert toads were always super loud. We got a lot of toads.
Yep.
We
So
didn't see any javelina though.
yes, we did. When we lived in Apache Junction, the one and only time I've seen a javelina here was when we were back by that emissions place, and there was one that ran across the road when it was dark, and it was just like a tiny little hairy black pig.
Yeah.
It was
cool to see, but
yeah, we've never seen one until then, so it was kind of weird. It looked like a little stinky potbelly pig,
Yeah.
I guess.
the roadrunners are fun too.
Yeah. But rent was going to go up to 1,800, so then we started looking around like, okay, that's a significant jump. Well, we weren't really finding any apartments that were in that price range that were, because after being where we were, we knew what to look for now. We knew if it looks like this, it's probably going to end up living like this. So then we started looking at house rentals, because if you're going to spend 1,800, would you rather spend another $100 and live completely by yourself, not next to anybody? So that's what we did. We moved into a 3-bed, 2-bath house in Mesa
With a pool.
for $2,000, and that was the big kicker for us was the pool. So we had the pool at the apartment. We kind of liked using it, but kids peeing in the pool and it never really working, and the hot tub never really being hot, we never really used it. So here we figured we'd be using it all the time. This is great. Fast forward 6 months into there, we found out that not having a heated pool sucks. There's about 2 weeks out of the year where it's perfect. Otherwise, it's freezing or
It was too hot.
it's like warm pea water and it's gross.
The downfall though is it could have been better, but there was zero shade over the pool. So the pool is in the sun all day.
And it was a kidney bean shape that was not level. It was like a bowl all the way around. So the only place that you could stand was like in the middle of it, and it was made with like 80 grit sandpaper. So even if you went to like the deep end and tried to stand on the side, like your feet would slide down and it would. First world problems, but that really opened our eyes to we don't really want a pool again unless it's heated.
Our camera just decided to do a calibration.
Technologica. All right, so we got.
Oh my gosh. So I work from home and Cody was gone. You went to the pull and save.
Just got there.
Well, the first time you went there, he cut his finger so bad. I thought we were going to have to take him to the emergency room.
I was showing her what a crankshaft looks like. in a block that was laying on the ground. So I went and picked it up and rolled it over. And when I did that, my hand slipped and the head gasket caught. I don't know if you can see that. No, maybe. Well, I suppose we can't put a picture up there because
Mm.
yeah. But and then it catching the corner of my finger deep. I would like very deep. If it was in the middle, it would have hit my bone, but it was kind of like on the edge. So just like a chunk of skin that was hanging off that you probably could have pulled off and then just like fixed it, but then you got a piece of your finger missing. I just rolled it over, folded it up, wrapped it up, and it's still fine. We're good. But
But if you're in an emergency, you don't want me to be with you because I think I was making it worse for him, and then I was making him a little more anxious.
well, it was me, Brooke, and Dad, and it was hot, and I knew I caught it, but when I was walking, like you could feel it, and it was gushing. It was coming out pretty good, and then I think that's when Brooke started getting a little anxious, and then I started feeling a little lightheaded when we were walking back, probably because blood loss, a little bit of shock. Ended up stopping by the wash station, cleaned it up a little bit. Everything was perfectly fine. Somebody drove back. It was good.
But yeah, so that was his first experience there. So
Yep.
then the second time he goes to the pull and save.
Yep. Just get there. I'm walking out to the cars, and I get a very frantic phone call.
So I'm sitting. At the time, I was a trainer. This was my very first onboarding training class. So I'm with you all day, Monday through Friday, your first week that you started the company. And I can't remember what day it was. And I'm sitting there doing training, and I could hear this helicopter. And I asked the person I was training if they could hear the helicopter, and they said no. Didn't think anything of it. I think it was like 10, 15 minutes later, I could hear like the megaphone from the police. And I was like, what the heck? So we took a quick 5-minute break. I looked out the window and I could see police everywhere. And then for some reason, I went to the back door, and there is a freaking guy just standing. Our pool had the fence around it. He was standing in the fence. And I went to the front door. Police were standing outside my door, and then I immediately started panicking. And I called Cody, and I can't even remember what I said. But I was like, I think there's a. No, I was calling him to tell him, like, oh, there's tea, like the cops are around here. Just like trying to get in on the drama, not realizing at the time that the guy's in the backyard. And I was on the phone with Cody when I went to the patio door and I seen him. And we made eye contact. But I told Cody, and I think that's when I panicked. And I was just like, oh my God, there's a guy in the backyard. And then I ran to the front door to get the cops, and they didn't really seem. Almost like I was just being nosy, and then I just started like full panic, like, he's in the backyard, he's in the backyard. And I think I started like, are you looking for a guy? And they didn't answer me. And so I got the cops, and then they just like bum rushed the house. I grabbed the dogs, I threw them in the bedroom. And then what did you were at pull and save, and then you got back in like 10 minutes or something.
I put my car in airplane mode, and then I Bluetoothed right to the house, right as the cops were talking to the guy in the back of the seat. So one thing I really did not like about this whole interaction was, one, she didn't know what to do. So that was a big push for home safety. Two was we had somebody in our backyard. I'm not a fan of that.
He was
Three,
for kidnapping.
the cops walked him through our house instead of around in our gate.
Yeah, and I had to go and ask them what to do because I put the dogs away. And then I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? Do I stay in the house? Do I go outside with the cops? And then I went outside, and then I don't get dressed for work. I just wear sweatpants, and so I look like a bum. And then I'm walking out there, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then they just randomly put me in the back of a cop car. And I got to watch him come right out the front door.
Yep. So now, not only does he know our whole backyard layout, now he knows how half of our house layout. And when I was pulling up, they had the door wide open. So I make eye contact with him, and I was mean mugging him, obviously, right? Like, what are you doing in my house?
Yeah.
As I pull up into the driveway, so he knows who she is, he knows who I am, and he knows our house. All of that did not sit well with me at all.
It was like a very uneasy feeling after. Like, obviously, they caught him. Good for them.
But there's
But what if
always
I
something
didn't?
just lingering in the back of your head, like, what if he's right there now? What stops him from coming back and doing something very bad because he got caught kind of because of us or because of
And
Brooke?
he got stuck in our pool fence, and they had the snipers. They were on the entire block was shut down. You had the helicopter up in the air, and then like even over the fence, you could see the snipers over the fence.
Because basically what happened was he was at Angry Crab Shack, and right behind that building is the residential wall. So he left there, went around, and started jumping into the residentials, wall to wall to wall to wall. Ended up in our place, but there was cops 360. When I came, on the corner there was cops. On the corner getting into our community was cops. And then I met two cops coming to the house, and then I went around the corner, and there was probably 8 to 15 cop cars all throughout the street. I had to barely get by even to get up into the driveway, and I was like, "Hey, I'm the guy who lives here. Can I park in my driveway?" It was super not. I didn't like that. So we ended up staying there until our lease was up again, and rent went up significantly. We're now at $2,500 a month, and we're telling ourselves, what are we doing? This is over $27,000 that we're just throwing away to live here.
And plus, we had all utilities, and
Pool went up $100.
yeah, you had to pay pool maintenance, all utilities.
Everything. And the one thing I didn't like about that either was, so you rent a house, but if it's something small, you got to fix it.
Yeah.
The whole point of renting a house is to literally not do anything.
If it was even in our agreement that if you had to send maintenance out there and it was basically just like a waste of time or something simple, you had to pay. I think it was $75
Yeah, an
for
example of
maintenance.
that would be like a rubber O-ring on a faucet. So if the faucet starts leaking, that's up to us to fix it.
Yeah.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, especially when you're paying $27,000 a year. That house was probably bought for less than $400,000. All is gonna do the math on it. It's this world is this different story.
Well, yeah. So that was Mesa. It was really nice too, though, because my
This
papa and grandma lived in the next neighborhood over.
this we're gonna reference back to this. This was Brooke's favorite area of Arizona so far. But continuing on,
Well, my papa and grandma was a 4-minute drive, 25-minute walk. So when they're here, Cody worked 2 jobs. So when he was gone at night and they were here, I just would go sit at their house till Cody was done with work. I spent a lot of time with them. Well, I still do when they're here. But
Yep.
you can't just hop over.
no, not
And
anymore.
Morrison Ranch is one of my favorite neighborhoods too, especially during fall time because it just reminds me of back home and all the trees and the grass and we were close enough to there where we could go ride bike or go for walks.
So that was a community over behind that community, so like kitty corner to our community. But Morrison Ranch is very expensive. Even back in 21, there's no house under 600,000. So I can only imagine now it's probably the normal is 800 to 900.
It's so pretty though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to live in there though because the houses are extremely close together.
There's a couple where you can go to a cul-de-sac and kind of out towards the corner, you're all by yourself, but it's still like you got to be making high six figures or something to live there because that's That's way more than what we were paying, and hey, we couldn't do that. So
I read another. So we were just talking about that whole the guy coming in.
Mhm.
We also, when we lived in North Dakota, we lived in Fargo for a couple years,
Mm.
and our tipping point to leaving Fargo and going back around our hometown. Um, I went to go out for lunch one day. I still worked at home. I walked outside, and all my rims and tires were gone. All of them. They left it up on cinder blocks. And then I think it was a couple weeks after that happened, in our apartment next, or in the building next to us, there was like a kidnapping situation. And I came home from lunch, or I can't remember. This was before my rims. I still worked in the office. I came home at lunch, and the entire uh, building was surrounded in the SWAT team.
Yep.
So then that was, and then my rims and tires got stolen. So then it was like, let's just go back home.
Yeah, for reference, that was in 2017.
16 or 17.
2016, 2017, rent was $500 for a 1 bed, 1 bath.
Oh, or yeah, one bed, one bath.
Yep.
But now even Fargo's expensive. They're like $1,000.
And the pay's the same. Anyways.
Yeah, and then okay, so I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, but we got Mesa out of the way, and then when rent was going up,
It was going to go up again.
so we decided to look at into buying a house.
But we've already figured out, I kind of like the Apache Junction where it's kind of like edge of town, really small, and you kind of have, like, you're close to things, but you still kind of have to drive a little bit. So it's unconveniently inconvenient, if that makes sense. Conveniently inconvenient, if that makes sense. So, like, you could go get something, but you're going to have to drive 40 minutes to go do whatever it is. So that kind of forces you to either enjoy it or maybe you don't want to do that. Where she really liked Mesa because of the landscaping and the convenience.
And streetlights and sidewalks and
Yep.
parks and grass and
So we picked a place in the middle of nowhere. Reason one, to save money. So we thought. Technically we are, but we're going to get into that. I think we kind of, not that we regret, we were just kind of.
I am thankful that we have a house.
Yep.
And I'm thankful that we get to save. It's cheaper to have this house than it was to rent.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish we would have taken our goggles off. We don't need a 4-bedroom.
Yeah. Well,
it's nice to have.
Well, in hindsight, technically, yes. You need 2 offices, and we were having every single year multiple people come down. Her mom, her dad, my sisters. So it was like every year there was a couple of months where there was always
Kids.
somebody. So it was like, this makes sense. Now we have our own place. They have their own room. This will be perfect.
Yeah.
We're going to backpedal just a tiny bit. Before this house that we're in now, there was a house in Coolidge. And this house to me was perfect. I've always been a huge car guy, always been into modifying them. Never had like a place of my own to like work on my stuff. It's always either been outside, on the gravel, on the grass, or in a little shanty garage, or I guess Mesa, we kind of had a nice garage there. But one thing you'll notice in Arizona, the garages are not like any other state. If you park 2 cars in there, you're smashing the car doors together and the car doors hitting the wall. If you want to work on something, you have to pull both cars out and put the car in the middle of the garage just so you have enough room to open up all the doors and work around there and get in your cabinets. It's done. This place had basically 2 separate houses connected with a breezeway.
It was, oh my God. It was the first house we've seen, and it was like, I don't even want to see anymore.
Yep.
But we went and looked at a couple more, and it was, um, one was a new build, and the other one was, in Casa Grande, I think. But we kept going back to this first one.
And it was super easy to do. So on the right side, you had your whole house. On the middle side, you could even park cars in the middle there, or have like a table and a nice breezeway where it's shaded. And then on the left hand side, you had a garage that was like a double stall. So you
And the additional room.
so you could park two cars easily side by side and have like a bench on one side and a bunch of stuff on the other side and fit two more cars in front of that. And on the back side of that was probably a 25 by 25 or 30 by 30, depending how big the garages were.
And no neighbors behind you.
And
And
there's
only one on the right of you.
yeah, we were on the house is on the edge of the street on a dead end road. So like nobody's going to be driving around there, nobody's going to be behind you, nobody's on the side of you, and you only had one neighbor who had a bunch of cars, so it was a car guy, so that would have been just like perfect.
Yeah. But unfortunately, everything that makes a house wasn't housing.
Foundation,
Yeah.
roof,
Everything. Electric. It was a hoarder house that these people, they got it cleaned out. It needed to be, plumbing was bad. Every single thing that you need in a house was bad.
but it looked decent.
Our inspector even took us off the property and basically said, don't buy this.
I won't say who our inspector was, but
I can't even remember his name.
I
really liked him though.
He just said under his breath, it's not worth it because you're going to spend more fixing the house than the house is going to be worth.
Yeah.
Which to me, we had our goggles on and
I could have cleaned that. I could have redone.
we would have been so far upside down for the rest of our lives in that house, but it would have almost been worth it because we will probably never see a house like that ever again.
Yeah, it was cool. I think I would have enjoyed the house.
Yeah. So then, once we seen that house, we came to this one, and when we seen the pictures and when we came here, there was a lift over on the side of the house.
Definitely a car guy that was here.
Our driveway has an extended pad that runs all the way back to another carport in the back. So in my head, I was like, okay, if the double isn't going to work out, but at least I have a lift now. That's what we thought. That was in the pictures. It was in the listing. It was everything. I thought that the lift was staying here. So perfect. That saves me anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and I'll be able to just look. It would have been great. Ended up,
it was gone.
It was gone.
It didn't stay.
When we moved in here, like we kind of took the goggles off, and then like our blurry vision kind of like it came back to where we could see again, and we started going, oh, it's a little bit worse than we thought. One of them being